Hey there, I'm Butch Hartman, the creator of the Fairly Odd Parents, TUFF Puppy, Bunsen is a Beast, and of course, Danny Phantom. You know, I do a lot of cartoons, and those cartoons need many things. They need drawings, they need writing, they need color, they need sound, they need music, but one of the most important things they need are voices. And this is the story of how I came to put them in my cartoons. When Hanna-Barbera was taken over by Cartoon Network back in the mid-90s, I worked on a show then, a short cartoon called Fish and Chip. So Fish and Chip was a show that was created by myself and my two partners. We were really excited. And we thought, we've got to get a great voice for this main character who was a shark. He was a big silly shark named Fish. And his little partner, who was a lynx, his name was Chip. And Chip talked like a Scottish man. He talked like a Scot like this, you know. And then Fish was going to talk like William Shatner. William Shatner had become famous because he was on a show called Star Trek. That's right, the original Star Trek back in the 1960s. He played Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, and he had an assistant, his Vulcan first officer named Mr. Spock, and they would go around the galaxy finding new civilizations. They would boldly go where no man had gone before, and that's what they did. So because of that original Star Trek and William Shatner being on it, all these other Star Treks spun off from it over the years. You know, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek and the Cat in the Hat, Star Trek Get Me a Hamburger. All those different Star Treks spun off from William Shatner's Star Trek. And he was a gigantic star. Plus he did some other series in the 80s. He did a series called T.J. Hooker, where he wasn't a fisherman, he was a cop named T.J. Hooker. He would fight crime as William Shatner. And we thought, brainstorm, like a little storm on my brain, why don't we get William Shatner to do the voice? This is before Fairly Odd Parents. This is even back before Fairly Odd Parents, before I really had done anything else in animation of note. I'm sitting in my cartoon office. I had a much smaller cartoon phone at the time. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Shatner, this is Butch Hartman on my cartoon phone. Hi, Butch, I'm William Shatner. I'm on my space phone on my Starship. Hey, Mr. Shatner, would you like to do a voice for our cartoon called Fish and Chip? I don't know. I've got to see it. Can you bring it over? Sure, Mr. William Shatner. So I hung up my cartoon phone and we went up the hill to Universal Studios. So my two friends and I go up to William Shatner's office. We got a meeting with William Shatner in his office. And guess what? It wasn't in a starship. It was in a bungalow. Right, so we went into a bungalow, and we were sitting there and waiting for William Shatner, and I'm all excited, because I had seen William Shatner on TV when I was a kid as Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. And I just thought it was great. I'm going to meet William Shatner. He's another one of my heroes, right? I was also kind of jealous that he had a bungalow, but that's another story. So we go up there, and we walk in. He's behind a big desk, and he's got an assistant there, and he's got a big stack of Star Trek posters that he's signing. I think at the time, one of the 10 million Star Trek movies was coming out, and he had to sign every poster, and he would take one off. His assistant would take it off as he signed it. And so he's like, so tell me about your show. We're sitting across from him, and he's signing posters at the time. And we said, well, Mr. Shatner, it's about a shark and a lynx that go to a bomb squad. That sounds funny. Yeah, it is kind of funny, Mr. Shatner. And so he's got all these posters to sign, and I said, you know, I can help you sign some of those if you want. I don't think so. And so I knew he would say that. So I said, okay. And so we pitched him the rest of the idea. And he says, sounds great. Can you bring me some drawings next time? Sure thing, Mr. William Shatner. And so my friends and I left William Shatner's office, and we were all excited. We're all jumping up and down. And I think we jumped all the way down the hill back from Universal Studios. We jumped all the way down the hill back to Hanna-Barbera. And we were all excited. We got William Shatner interested. This is so exciting. So we did some more drawings of the characters. And we had another meeting with him. We got an extra meeting with William Shatner about a week later. So we hopped all happy back up to the top of Universal Studios up the hill. William Shatner was doing a guest starring role on a show called SeaQuest, which was on NBC in the mid-90s. It was about an underwater, like a big, huge submarine. And it was like in the future. It was a futuristic submarine that would fight evil things under the ocean. And the captain was Roy Scheider. I remember that. But it didn't do very well. The show didn't last very long. But William Shatner had a guest role that week. We hopped back up the hill, up to Universal Studios, and today William Shatner is in a trailer on the set of SeaQuest, and he asked us to meet with him in his trailer. So we go into his trailer, and there's William Shatner sitting there, but he's got a fake mustache on because he had to play the bad guy on SeaQuest that week. And he's like, so he goes, do you have any drawings? We sure do, Mr. William Shatner. And we showed him the drawings, and he laughed his butt off. Oh my gosh, this is, and his assistant was there. He goes, this is really funny. I think this is hilarious. In fact, I want to be the shark. I want to be your shark. This is great, Mr. William Shatner. And so we kind of shook hands. We had a deal. He's like, he wants to be on our show. This is great. But here's the mistake we made. Mistake number one, in fact, the only mistake we made, the big mistake we made, was we had not yet pitched our show and gotten the show sold. We got William Shatner interested in the show before the show was sold. So when the show was sold, William Shatner thought we sold the show with him being on the show. Therefore, he wanted a huge chunk of our money from the show. And understandable. That is completely understandable. He had every right to think that, but we were just a bunch of dumb kids. We didn't know that's how you don't sell a show. You don't sell a show with an actor attached unless you're prepared to give the actor part of the money for the show. We weren't hardly even making any money on this show, so we regretfully, sadly, had to back away from William Shatner. I could just see us. We're over here, and William Shatner's here, and we're slowly pulling away from each other. And we just got farther and farther away, and we couldn't do the show together, and it was so sad. He understood. He was very cool about it. He wasn't angry or anything. He understood completely. We said, Mr. Shatner, we're just starting out in this business. We don't have the money to give you, and we really appreciate it. So we ended up doing the show without William Shatner, and we got somebody who kind of sounded like William Shatner, but definitely wasn't the real William Shatner. So Fish and Chip went on to 2 full episodes of greatness on the What a Cartoon show at Hanna-Barbera without William Shatner. And that's my William Shatner story. It was great meeting the captain of the Starship Enterprise, who almost starred as my shark. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed my animated life story. What other stories should I tell about my animated life? What other stories do you want to hear about me? What interests you about Butch Hartman? What do you want to know that I could animate for you and make it in a funny way? You want to hear about my time at Disney? I had an internship there once. You want to hear about the time I came to California for the very first time? What was that like for a kid from Michigan? What was that like? Do you want to hear about the time I created Fairly Odd Parents? How about when I worked on Johnny Bravo or Dexter's Laboratory? Want to hear about those stories? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I would love it if you guys would share this video on Facebook, Reddit, put it all over the place, man. I want people to really enjoy these stories, and I really hope people like them. And I want to keep making more of these animated stories. And let me know if you think I should. Do you guys think I should make more animated stories about my life? If so, let me know in the comment section below, okay? I'm here to make videos for you because it's all about you. And don't forget, art gives you power. Use it wisely.